guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Claudia. If you didn't already know, before I start this episode really quickly, please comment, like and subscribe. As I said before, I'm trying to grow my channel and I would appreciate any little bit of support. Let me get straight into the episode. So we start off with Shakira speaking to Connor about the whole situation. Obviously she's quite emotional about the whole Harry thing. Connor obviously consoles her and says that, you know, he can't tell her what to do, but she knows, you know, what she should be doing. She then decides she's gonna speak to Helena and then ends up ending it with Harry anyway, which I'm so proud of you, girl, because don't get involved with that mess. I think, as I said before, Shakira is so mature for her age, and I really love how she's handling herself in there. Well, we then see Helena tell the girls that Harry will end it with Shakira. And then we see her say to the girls that they're basically back on. Can I just say, I think at that point it wasn't 100% guaranteed they hadn't been back on, and certain conversations hadn't been had. So I think Helena was jumping the gun a little bit, but you know, Helena will do what Helena will do anyways. Shakira then obviously speaks to Helena about the situation. And for me, it's so strange because Helena had already spoken to her Mean Girl crew and basically said that they're back on together. Well, not back on together, but that she and Harry are basically back on. But when she then speaks to Shakira, she's not telling Shakira that. She's going on like, oh, I'm not really sure. I think you're going to have the conversation with Harry. You know, he's telling both of us two different things. But you were so confident and so sure when you spoke to the Mean Girl saying that you and Harry are back on, but you can't even be woman enough to tell Shakira the truth, right? So anyway, then Shakira then talks to Harry again, who's basically acting all confused and surprised by her reaction. Okay, Harry, let's not pretend like we don't know what we've been doing, okay? But obviously she, as I said before, basically ends it. And I love how she ended it. She genuinely ended it like a queen. No hard feelings. Just like, you know what, I'm just not going to get involved. You and Helena obviously have, what is the term that they're using? You and Helena have something undeniable. I love how she dropped that in there. But yeah, long story short, Shakira ends it with Harry in a very dignified way. And obviously later we also see that she tells the girls that she kind of felt a... So yeah, I love how Shakira just knew what to do, the right thing to do, ends it calmly, doesn't feel anything about it. Of course she did like Harry, or just thought that's like Harry, but she knows what's good for her. She knows Harry is messing about and is not being honest with her, so she ended it and it was all done. She later obviously then tells her girls, Tony and Yasmin, about it, and obviously, you know, they give her, I think, a hug and, you know, just making sure that she's okay, which she obviously is. And then that was the end of that story, to be honest. So now we then see Helena and Harrison talk. They obviously were debating whether they should sleep on the day bed or the hideaway that night. And Helena was definitely pushing for that. And I just felt like the whole thing was a little bit awkward. And then Helena obviously then... I think they decide not for that night, I think, from what I remember. Helena then is so excited about the fact that she and Harry are back together. She tells Emily that they're back on. And yeah. Do you know what I actually really loved? When they were going to bed and Shakira was like, yeah, she had more granny PJs. Anyway, we see her go to bed in a more covered way, which I love. I feel like, yeah, she's standing on business, you know. She's not giving him the wrong idea or anything. She's just making very clear, we're not together anymore, so therefore I'm going to go to bed all covered up. I just love how Shakira has handled herself and she's handled the situation. And you could tell, obviously, she's affected by the situation, but she's doing what she needs to do, and, you know, basically moving on. Fast forward now, next day we see the Djon asking BillyKiss to have a chat. Initially, I genuinely thought he's going to come correct in the way, you know, he will handle that conversation. And then as his attitude was absolutely stinking bad. Obviously, he confronts her about her behavior in the challenge. And basically just says that he didn't like how she went on about it, blah 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 blah. BillyKiss obviously explains to him that for her it was the fact that he semi entertained her, and obviously said he was willing to get to know her, but then he kind of changed his tune and acted completely different when he was back with Megan, which she had every right to say. And then obviously kind of ends in Djon being very feisty actually, and I feel like very disrespectful in the way he had a conversation with BillyKiss. If he was not even listening to her, and he was trying to tell her, are you listening to me? Like, if you're not going to listen, then I'm going to walk away. We're not having a two-way conversation kind of thing. He wanted to get his point across, but he wasn't letting BillyKiss talk, and I find it very, very disrespectful how he went on about it. He didn't even end up saying something along the lines of, you're not someone that I would want to get with. Well, Djon, that's not what you were saying when you first got to meet BillyKiss. You were completely singing a whole different tune. So I'm not sure where that's coming from, but you're looking like an absolute idiot. And in all honesty, I'm so disappointed to have witnessed that scene between BillyKiss and Djon. BillyKiss obviously, she did back herself. I did feel bad for her, but anyway, eventually Djon just walked off like an absolute idiot. What absolute mug, honestly. I have no time for Djon anymore after. Anyway, we then see Helena and Harrison head into the hideaway. Obviously everyone is looking. Shakira is so over it. She's like, you guys go get on with each other. They jump in the pool, have a whole moment, kiss. Can I just say, like, everything between Harrison and Helena is everything is just about intimacy with them, literally. Like, there's nothing where you can actually see they have a connection. They are just so into each other in an intimate way. There is nothing else that I see with them. And he just talks to her constantly. Anything that he says is about intimacy, and the way he looks at her and what he says about the hair and all of that. So for me, that whole relationship, I don't know where that's gonna go, but good luck to them, and I literally couldn't care for them. Anywho, we then see the whole fire pit situation. They get a text that there will be a recoupling. Everyone had to gather around the fire pit. The boys had to then make a choice to recouple. And I think the recoupling, I'm literally only going to talk about, obviously the biggest shock to me was the fact that Connor ended up recoupling with Yasmin. I just feel like, was there something that we missed? Because I felt like that was pure humiliation. He said in his speech initially, before we knew he was going to choose BillyKiss, that he doesn't know this girl very well, blah blah blah, but he wants to give it a chance to get to know this girl. And then he chose Yasmin, and for me that was a big shock, because I'm thinking, did you guys have a discussion about it? Obviously, prior to that, we did see Connor and BillyKiss have a conversation where Connor was talking about how he didn't really like how BillyKiss reacted in the challenge, blah, 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 blah. Well, obviously, she stood up for herself, and she said, she's a nice girl, but, she will stand up for herself if she needs to, which I 100% agree to. And I don't get why Connor even brought up that conversation, because he entertained Megan for so long, and Megan was absolutely ruthless in there, and he didn't once mention it as a problem. So to me, as I've mentioned before, I feel like Connor is constantly looking for issues with BillyKiss, because he didn't even like BillyKiss in the first place. He never liked her in the first place, and I don't even know why he ended up choosing her. And basically Alima lost her place in the villa, and you just kind of just done that. So he kind of humiliates her in front of everyone and chose Jasmine over BillyKiss, which I feel like BillyKiss was completely blindsided by. We were all blindsided by it, unless we've missed something. Regardless, it was just absolutely ridiculous. Like, Connor has gone very much down in my books. Anyway, I love how Giorgio ended up in a way saving her humiliation, I believe, in the way he spoke about her, and was so lovely. And he seems like such a respectable guy, and so much respect for Giorgio, and I really like him for that. And that's all I've got to say. But it was a big disappointment to see Connor blindside all of us, but obviously more so BillyKiss in that recoupling. And then that was that. Oh, okay, and also the other part about the recoupling is Ben and Shakira. Ben recoupling back with Shakira and basically saying all sorts of things, and Shakira is just like, oh my god, like what are you actually saying? Anyway, they end up together as a couple again. We later see them have a conversation, and you can kind of tell that Ben was trying to hint for them to give it another shot, but when Shakira basically shut it down straight away, he goes, yeah, exactly, I wasn't even trying to say we should get back together, we should just be able to have a normal conversation without bickering. Yeah, right, you can't handle rejection, so now you're just, backtracking. Ben is an actual joke. But yeah, anyway, Shakira shut that down, and she is not planning on getting back with Ben, which I definitely agree with Shakira. Don't get back with Ben. Like, he is not the guy for you, clearly. And obviously Shakira obviously also mentioned that she isn't going to get back with him because the biggest issue for her was the fact that they're not on the same page when it comes intellectually. Like, they're not on the same page. It's not about anything but that. So for her, that's just not going to happen. But Ben does not see it that way, or he can't really understand that. But yeah, hey. They then get a text that they will have a performance, and obviously everyone will get glammed up, and then KTB performs. Can we just talk about Shakira's dress? She looked absolutely stunning. Absolutely loved how she looks, but she always looks good anyway. And then obviously they enjoy each other, and then fast forward, I think we then see BillyKiss and Connor have that conversation that I thought we should have seen prior to that. Obviously he explains his reasoning behind why he did what he did. BillyKiss was like, okay, yeah, whatever. And that was really it. There wasn't really much discussed because I'm so over this whole Connor thing and BillyKiss. And I feel like, yeah, BillyKiss can, like, in peace now move on, and hopefully, obviously, someone will come in there for her. Yeah, I'm not a big fan of Connor now after that. He's acting a bit funny in my opinion. So yeah, my final thoughts about this whole thing is Djon definitely gone down in my books. He was very disrespectful to BillyKiss. Somehow I feel like he's kind of gaslighting Meg. I'm not too sure. He constantly is obviously going on about the fact that it's his Meg and that he is only for Meg. But hey, Djon, you still haven't closed it off. So when is that going to happen? Connor, yeah, lost so much respect for you in how you handled that BillyKiss situation. Giorgio, gained so much respect for him. Absolute top guy. You can tell he's a guy that just is so respectful to women, regardless of what connection he has with them. It doesn't have to be romantic. And I feel like for men, it's so important. It doesn't matter whether you like a girl, you don't like a girl. Just be respectful. Like, it doesn't cost anything to be a kind, respectful person. So Giorgio, absolute top guy. I really, really like the guy. And yeah, he's definitely up there in my books because I value character so much, and I think he has a brilliant character. And yeah, overall, we know that Casa is coming up. Let's see what happens with that. I genuinely hope that there will be someone for BillyKiss. I hope Helena gets the hell out of that villa. I hope we see Harry absolutely regretting messing it up with Shakira. I want to see it. Apparently Harry's ex is coming into the villa, so yeah, let's see how that will go down. But yeah, looking forward to the next episode. Thank you so much if you've watched to the end. Please don't forget to like, comment and subscribe, and I see you in my next video. Thank you. Bye bye.